Let me present you with a scenario and see if you can relate. You just lucked out and happen upon a cool spot that would be just perfect for flying your quadcopter. You're excited, already planning the whole thing out in your head, thinking about sticking a camera on there so you could capture the sights. And then it hits you. It would involve flying over water. What if something happens? There could be transmitter interference, the battery could run out, God forbid you could make a mistake. What about the quadcopter? What about the money? Enter the GPToys H2O Aviax, which aims to relieve this anxiety by A. not being very expensive and B. more importantly, being waterproof. This is the first time I see a toy multirotor claiming to be waterproof, let alone being marketed on this merit. Since the Aviax H2O in most other aspects, at least apparently, isn't that remarkable, I'll spend a significant portion of this review examining this waterproof claim. It is, after all, I think, the thing that will catch most people's attention and the main reason I'm reviewing it. Welcome to this review and flight test of the H2O Aviax mini quadcopter from GPToys. In terms of appearance, the H2O Aviax is basically another clone of the Syma X5, a design at this point as proven as it is uninspired. The only significant differences are the color, appropriately enough signal orange, although there is also a silver-white version available, and the LED added to the top of the aircraft in the shape of this 4 GPS thingamajig. This is also appropriate considering the 4 normal LEDs are not, albeit bright, visible from the top, which is the perspective from which you'll be seeing it in the occurrence of a water landing or takeoff. Clone or not, the H2O Aviax feels solidly put together in everything from the aircraft itself to the included accessories, of which a generous amount have been included. A full set of replacement propellers, sturdy screw-on prop guards, not one but 2 650 mAh 3.7V LiPo batteries, an instruction manual in fully intelligible English, even the obligatory USB charging cable feels like a cut above. Charging still takes a good hour or so, but at least it gives clear indication as to the status of the process, as opposed to the unpredictable flickering of your typical Chinese USB charger. The transmitter is very nice for a quadcopter in the sub $50 price range, offering a more hobby-grade-like design as well as features such as backlit display, extra buttons for things like headless mode or cruise control, more on this later, and a whopping 4 rates called 20, 40, 60 and 100% respectively. Being stuck in the toy grade segment, this is now one of the nicer transmitters I own. In flight, the GPToys H2O Aviax manages to simultaneously impress with its stability and wealth of features and disappoint with its slow and unvaried rates. As mentioned, there are all of 4 rates to choose from, but peculiarly, except for perhaps the highest, they're all pretty much the same. Slow. The highest rate, called 100%, offers some relief, but even it is not much faster than your typical mid-rate on any other multirotor. It should be noted that yaw speed does change between rates, just not by a lot, and never becomes quite proportional to pitch and roll. The H2O Aviax does offer some extra features for the inquisitive. Apart from a, from what I can tell, well-executed headless mode, there is also cruise control, which basically takes control and replays the last 40-second worth of transmitter inputs. It's a strange feature that, albeit working, is hard to come up with good uses for. Keep in mind that while inputs are recorded, where the quadcopter is in 3-dimensional space is not. Therefore, whatever you use it for, make sure to be in a wide open area. Using the H2O Aviax as a camera quad with something like an 8-to-8 keychain camera poses no problems. In fact, its slow rates, exceptional stability, 8+ minute flight times and seemingly adequate range all lend themselves quite nicely to that sort of thing. It's just too bad I don't think there are any waterproof cameras in that 20-gram weight range, so while your camera platform is waterproof, the camera itself isn't. Calling your product waterproof and having a picture of it half submerged into water on the front of the box is ballsy, because as sure as my channel's name is RC View and you all should subscribe to it, people will fly this thing headlong into the very first body of water they see. What I'm saying is, if you are the proprietor of a product like this, you better be able to back up your claim or be prepared to drown, yes pun intended, in customer complaints. My immediate question was what waterproof really means in this context. Waterproof as in can tolerate some light rain, waterproof as in can land in and take off from water, or waterproof as in is basically a boat that also flies. To test this, I put my GPToys H2O Aviax through a number of tests involving gradually intensifying contact with water. Test number 1. Flying it in a sprinkler. Grade? Passing with distinction. This test, which I would argue simulates the conditions of heavy downpour, was no problem at all for the aircraft. In all regards, it kept functioning as normal throughout the full flight. If you happen to live in a seasonally or permanently raining place, I guess the H2O Aviax would come in handy. Okay, so far so good. Test number 2. Landing in and taking off from water. Grade? Well, okay, here's where it gets complicated. I've tried this twice now. First time the aircraft remained operable throughout the entire flight despite being well submerged at points. Although it did start acting worryingly towards the end, responding slowly to inputs and not having much lift, it fully recovered and flew as new again once given time to dry. The second time I tried it, things turned bad about halfway into the flight, when the H2O Aviax completely stopped responding and instead decided to paddle off on its own. This continued even after I switched the transmitter off. Luckily, it eventually got stuck in some reeds and I could use a boat to go out and get it. Still, given time to dry, it once again flew fine with no discernible damage from the incident. So where does all this leave the GPToys H2O Aviax with regards to its claim of being waterproof? I guess it depends on your definition of waterproof. According to my experience, the H2O Aviax is unlikely to get permanently damaged even by quite severe water exposure. This is not the same to say it'll work perfectly while being exposed to water. A few splashes are probably okay, but don't fly it over a significant body of water without any way to retrieve it. In conclusion, I do like the GPToys H2O Aviax. In fact, I like it to the point I'm considering replacing my Syma X5, its main competitor and my current go-to all-round mini quadcopter, with it. It does everything the Syma does, and is waterproof, and offers additional features, however superfluous, like headless mode and cruise control. The only negative things I can come up with concerns the waterproofing, which is perhaps not quite as extensive as one would have hoped, and the rates, which certainly could have been faster and more varied. Still, it's not like any of the competitors offer weatherproofing at all, and at least the Syma isn't very sporty either. All in all, the GPToys H2O Aviax feels like a quality product at a budget price point, perfect for someone who wants to get into the hobby or anyone else looking for something easy to fly and slightly more rugged for light camera work or for just messing around with. Hey guys, thanks for watching. As always, consider subscribing if you want to be notified whenever new videos become available. Also, feel free to like or provide your input on this video in the comment section below. Alright, see you soon in another review. Bye!